Merry Christmas,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Should we start this episode by singing some Christmas carols?
Oh, we should.
Yes.
What's
Start
your
us
favourite
off.
Christmas carol?
The Bells of Windsor.
Why don't you lead and we'll join in?
That would have to be a solo.
You lead and we'll try and join you.
No, okay, well maybe we should just discuss the film.
Oh, what a shame.
Probably for the best.
I guess.
The film, so like the Halloween special, we all voted rather than giving one person complete power to choose. And somehow we ended up picking A Bad Mom's
How
Christmas,
did this happen?
which is,
No
I think
regrets.
might have been the worst option out of all the 8 films we proposed. But for some reason, and this was not a secret ballot, so
I had the
Claire.
perfect system for... I should have never opened my goddamn mouth. I was going to rig the whole thing. Force it to go to Wilf and then pressure Wilf into picking the film that I wanted.
you'd have done it as well.
See, I think this is just a testament to democracy representing the will of the people. This is
Yeah, there you go.
Makes you worry about the people, doesn't it?
Does
let the
indeed.
will
So-
of the people be done.
A Bad Mom's Christmas. This one was proposed by who?
Fernando?
By me,
Yeah.
it was my
By Fernando.
proposal, yes.
Where did you hear about this this film, for
film.
want of a better word?
Flick.
Well, when everyone was like, "Oh, you should have Christmas suggestions," I was like, "Oh, I know nothing about Christmas." So I asked Google, and
I knew
this film
Google was
came up.
evil.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. We could have had Jingle All the Way, everyone. I hope you know I'm picking it next.
There were like 5 good films that we could have chosen. Anyway, yeah, so A Bad Mom's Christmas. What do we all think? Fernando?
I just don't know if I've seen. As in, I know that I've seen a Bad Moms film, or as in the original one without the Christmas. Except maybe yes, and that must be the case. But it's almost identical as the first one. As in, there were several points in the film where I was like, "Have I seen this film before?" And I'm still not sure if I've seen it before. Which is why I now have Letterboxd, so that Letterboxd can remind me whether
Yeah.
I've watched films before.
I've been enjoying reading your letterbox. It's a great
It's
resource.
fantastic.
Thank
Yes.
you.
There's 3 of us now.
Thank you for introducing me to Letterboxd.
Yeah.
What an interesting film. What an interesting film.
Yeah.
What a film.
What a film. I'll agree
What
with
a
that.
film. Goodness.
Laura, did this one do much for you?
Well, there was...
Have you seen Bad Moms?
I haven't. And I got very confused because I told my sister what we were watching. She was like, "Oh, it's abysmal. At least the sequel has their mums in it." And then we started watching it. I was like, "Oh, am I watching the sequel?" And I was looking for ages to try and find the first film. And it just kept coming up with this Christmas one. And I was like, I've watched the wrong bloody film. And then I have to watch another Bad Moms film. Oh, God.
No.
Anyway, it turns out Christmas is the sequel and it's all fine. Which is odd because then I was like, well, I really don't feel like I missed anything with the first. Like, there was no references that I felt wrong-footed by. Anyway.
Yeah.
Or did you... Oh, maybe you felt differently, but I certainly didn't think that's confusing.
I mean, I didn't think, this cerebral masterpiece is going over my head, but I was like watching it to start with. I was like, am I meant to know who these people are? Who got divorced?
Oh, I thought there was just...
How many families are there?
Yeah.
And it took me a little while to settle into it. I think we were meant to... It was like how everybody constantly loves telling me that you don't really have to have seen any of the other Marvel films for the next Marvel film to make sense,
Yeah.
and then you watch it with like... I think I got most of it, but who was that one guy and who was that other guy and why are they in space? And what,
Yeah.
that kind of level for me.
I was just along for the ride. I had a nice...
You're along for
I
the
had a good
ride.
time.
That's good.
Yeah.
Was it a good ride?
Yeah, it was good enough. Did the job.
Excellent.
Glad it's over.
How about you, Claire?
Well, clearly it was dealing with some very important social issues.
Oh, like, boy,
Yeah.
don't women have it hard, eh?
What they do, yeah. And, alcoholism and other things. So, I think it dealt with some very serious issues in a very light
Alcoholism.
way. Yeah,
Cool.
not really. They were like a bit drunk at one
Yep.
point. I was trying to make it more serious than it was, and I couldn't think of any other issues it dealt with. Yeah,
God, there certainly was a lot of
Gosh.
effing and jeffing, wasn't there?
there was indeed.
Certainly was.
Not very festive.
An unnecessary amount, I thought. I thought, God, there's no need for this. It's not making
Yeah.
it funnier.
Exactly. It could have been a lovely film, but then they had to use the fuck word, and that ruined it.
Anyway, what did you think, Michael?
This was an awful film.
Yeah, it
this
was.
really terrible. I really did quite hate it. And I think all the people involved in it should be at least faintly ashamed of it. Proper
Yeah.
terrible stuff. And I think it could have been good as well. That was the annoying bit. It was like Claire said, that this had a lot of genuinely quite interesting concepts in it and some important issues to discuss, and they utterly failed to discuss any of them properly. And a few changes, an extra, few runs through the mill in the writing room, or a different director or something could have changed this and made it worth watching. It's a bit like when you watch. Have you all seen Mean Girls?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you watch that could have been a really crap film. It could have been like this, but somehow somebody got involved in that and just put a few extra lines in here and there and a few little features in there that made it just this masterpiece that's just fantastic. And that could have happened with this film, and it didn't, because no one cared enough. I think they were turning the crank to just shit out some film in time for Christmas that people would like if they heard of the first one vaguely.
I think I totally agree with you that they are just shitting out a film for Christmas that no one put any care or effort into whatsoever. I don't think it could have been. I think the difference between this and Mean Girls is just good writing, and that would be the difference for any bad film ever. If it had a good writer who had any talent whatsoever, it would have been a different film.
So some films didn't have a good story. If this, I'm never going to say this for Song to Song, or the one about the neo-Marxists in California. What was that called?
Southland Tales.
Southland Tales. That they just had nothing to them. There was no decent storyline. Whereas this was these were interesting characters, a couple of interesting dynamics there, and I feel like they could, good writers could have saved it, whereas maybe they couldn't have saved some other films. But yes, I'm glad we agree that this was not a great film.
I mean, I have a lot of thoughts on it, and it certainly there were.
I have a lot of thoughts on it.
Moments that I did enjoy, few gags that I nearly
There
had
were
a
some
titter
very good jokes. Yeah, some good jokes.
I laughed a few times.
Yeah, mostly with Christine Baranski. Is that her name?
Is that the one from Mamma Mia?
Yes.
Yeah, she's great.
She's fantastic.
Oh yes, the very, very rich grandma.
Yeah, she had a lot of the laughs for me, I think.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the waxing scene as well.
The waxing scene.
Oh my
with the
god,
man.
It was so uncomfortable.
With oh my god, that was my least favourite scene. I was like, this
so
is
funny.
Just garbage.
It was so bad. It was hilarious. I just couldn't stop laughing. So it was, there was just, how did anyone possibly imagine?
Are you laughing at it or with
something
it?
like that
That's
playing out?
An important difference.
It's so funny.
Are you engaging with this on the film's terms of being like, that's just a generally funny scenario, which is fine. We all have our opinions.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I think I was willing to just giggle along.
That's nice. That's the right attitude for this film, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to not expect it to be doing anything worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem with it though is that it ruined itself, and it was trying to do stuff that it then couldn't pull off because it had ruined it. So stuff like, I'm all for it, and you get this a lot more in, like, particularly in American heartwarming Christmas stuff. It'll be a light-hearted comedy, but then there'll be a moment of real drama that really makes you go, oh, wow, and makes you think a bit, like in Love Actually. Like, that's a fun, silly movie. But then the scene where Emma Thompson breaks down crying, listening to the CD in her daughter's room, it's just so brilliant and so perfect. And that's because they didn't overdo it for the rest of the film. So I was seeing like this touching moment with a daughter trying to reconnect with her mother in a couple of different places. And I'm watching it and thinking, I just watched a scene with a guy getting his arsehole waxed while he was flirting with the person and like swearing and making eyes at it. Just all credibility of this film is gone. How can I take this seriously?
You just don't.
Yeah, and that makes those scenes that are supposed to be a bit touching just tedious and jarring. Just why am I sitting here? I don't care about these people. I'm just here for a couple of cheap jokes. And that can work as well. You can have a silly film. Like, imagine, the Beatles film Help. Imagine if they put in like some touching moment at the end where Ringo nearly dies and they all cry, and then he gets back just at the last second, and there's a heartwarming moment where he comes back to life, and the orchestral music plays. It just wouldn't have worked because it was a silly film that was just a bit of fun, and it felt like a bit of a slap in the face when they were putting these bits that were meant to be serious, as if they were saying, like as if they were pretending that all of that didn't happen, or they were treating me like an idiot who thought this was a proper film or something. Just rubbed me the wrong way.
I feel like you were, like offended by how bad this film was.
Yeah, I was offended by the fact that they tried to make it, tried to act as if it was going to change my life. Yeah.
Michael, that's not the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, so I mean, what is the Christmas spirit? What it reminded me of, so stuff like the waxing scene, which is kind of a funny idea, but it was like playing. Claire, you'll remember a group of people who visited us at uni a couple of times who had very few boundaries.
Yes.
It's like playing drinking games with people who have no boundaries. Like playing like Ring of Fire or Never Have I Ever is fun because you're kind of pushing at the boundaries of what people are comfortable with, and it's a little bit edgy and there's a little bit of banter going on. And if you play that with someone who has no boundaries, it's just squalor, and it's just like if like we played with them, and like the first question they asked was like just the most explicit, over the top thing you could ever think of, and then we played a like truth or dare game, and the first dare was take off all your clothes and go to the next door's house and ring on the doorbell and call them a twat, and then run away laughing. I was like, well,
that's mild.
There's no mystery anymore. How is this fun? And that's what it felt like watching this film. It was like, how can I like there's nothing funny if they're just effing and blinding everywhere. How can you go back to this like subtle character comedy when you've got a line of naked Santas with their dicks sticking out? It's just lame.
So you can't keep it turned up to 11 the whole time.
Exactly, and you certainly can't turn it up to 11 and then try and make me excited when you put it up to 5 later from 4.
Yeah, I think I see what you mean. Like, imagine if Anchorman had like it should have been a tongue-in-cheek, silly makeup, maybe.
Exactly,
like something that sticks with the vibe instead of just being like changing gears from. Yeah, I get what you mean. I think.
I think my main suggestion for the film would have been make the silly parts less silly and the sensible parts less sensible.
But then maybe this film just wasn't for you. I'm not.
Maybe
you're not the target audience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what you mean. If you were making it
in
for
the same
you.
way, I wasn't the target audience for Southland Tales or Song to Song because I like good films rather than crap films. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know what annoyed me about that touching scene at the church? They're in a bloody church. People are trying to listen to mass.
No one turned around to listen
That's
in
what
either.
I noticed that they're just staring straight. I suppose I would do that. I would be sighing. Oh no, I would be glancing as well. I'd be glancing and sighing.
Yeah, I'd totally be glancing.
Shut the fuck up. Go home. This is a house of God.
But you know what?
Doing good.
Sorry, go on.
Anyway,
yeah, it'd have been really good if some like old pious looking person had like jumped up in the church and told them off.
Yeah,
told them to get out. If the minister had like rocked up, like,
do you mind?
Get out of here, punks.
Yeah,
I don't know where he was from.
Again, you're doing some kind of creative writing here, and I feel like you've already thought this through more than they did. Wouldn't that be good? Just defuse the drama a little bit, still have them do that scene, but they have to do it like sheltered underneath a thing just outside the church because it's snowing, with like someone trying to sell them a hot dog. Or like, the rich one, all of her rich friends are getting kicked out of a church on Christmas morning. There's some other joke that you can put in there to make that a more interesting scene. Oh, I don't know.
I think he just needed to be drunk.
Yeah, could have helped. But they say, don't know, that's maybe the hallmark of a good film. So, some films, the more you think about them afterwards, the more you like them. And other films, the more you think about them, the worse they are. And I think that the latter category is the films that you need to be drunk to get something out of.
So that you forget about them and can't think about how bad they were.
That would be good as well. As we say, it had some good moments. I feel like I've rained on the parade here just by because of how angry I am because of how shit the film.
Like, what jokes
that's
did we
also
like?
something we're thankful for.
I can go first. So I liked the bit when Mila Kunis comes home and her mum's having a big party, and then she starts destroying the house, and then Christine Baranski's like, "That was from the Titanic," and then her other joke was like, when she topples the ice sculptures, she's like, "That was moon ice." I genuinely did laugh at that. I was like, "That's pretty funny."
Oh, that was good.
And I also liked it when I think Mila Kunis, when she was trying to kick out the sushi chef, and he just like apologizes really humbly in Japanese, and it's like a few good jokes.
That was quite good. That was good. I think like you guys, Ruth was one of the characters that made me laugh the most.
I did enjoy her constant racial profiling of Jesse.
That was I liked that recurring joke that she just didn't remember who he was.
It did make her out to be like I need to know that this is an awful person. Job done.
Yeah. and it was quite good as well that she said this thing about Jews just at the start. You haven't got your Christmas tree. Honey, even Jews have their Christmas trees up by now.
I mean, she's right, though. By the 19th of December, you don't have a tree.
Yeah.
Are you fucking insane?
No, that was good, though. And just this subtle... that one comment says so much. It's her, like, taking her daughter down a peg and being high-minded and supercilious and being a bit racist. And it all worked out quite well. Which is why I thought it was a shame when they tried to get a second bite of the cherry later on in the film, where they had her make this other, like, comment about Jews at the end when they're eating the Chinese food. and it just started feeling like, yeah, you did this one. Do you have a thing about Jews?
No. Jokes just get better with being rehashed. That's rule one of comedy. Like, if someone laughs at your joke, you have to keep making it. They'll keep laughing.
Like, haha, this sexy Santa has a big penis.
Yes.
Let's keep laughing at it.
We can get a good 20 minutes of material out of that, I think. Let's keep coming back to that one. But yeah, again, all these so I'm now slagging it off again, where we said this is the bit where we say the bits we like. So I liked it when I think one of the first things she says is, "Hello, kids, have some Xboxes." It's just this inspired line to phrase it like that. And it's clear that she doesn't even really know what an Xbox is. It's just something expensive that kids like, so we'll just give them a couple of those. That's great.
Yeah, she had a few good line deliveries as well. When Mila Kunis was like, "How much did this cost?" And she was just smiling blandly and looking forward, like, it was very expensive. Yeah. Fernando and Claire, what were your highlights?
Susan Sarandon's walk at the end. I like just everything Susan Sarandon does is amazing. But there was just something, the swagger that she had on her made me very happy. Yeah, just her, like, complete irresponsibility at all times. And again,
she was a treat as well.
Sounds like you guys maybe didn't like the stripping Santa, but how polite he was to everyone while stripping, while the guy's stripping. And he kept being, like, super polite and introducing himself to people, even though he was, like, half naked. I thought that was just really nice. He seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah, he seemed like a sweet, simple soul.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. I also like that Sandy from the OC was in it. Shout out to Sandy from the OC. I'm going to guess that 2 of you will not know what that means, but never mind.
I do not know what that means.
You all don't. Have you never seen the OC?
Is that a band? Or...
No, it's a TV show.
No, okay. No, I don't know anything about it.
Oh, it's the main. They dreadfully underused him in this, but he's Ruth's husband, and he's a great character in the OC. And I like the actor, and they didn't really use him. But...
Yeah, it just has like the one proper speech at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was nice to see him getting TV work.
Nice.
Or film work, I suppose.
It's not washed up yet.
Yeah. Fernando, highlight?
I've been thinking hard since the question was asked. Perhaps when Ruth was retelling how harsh her mother had been on her, and she was talking about an experience where she was mistreated by her mother, and someone else says, "Well, that was ages ago," and she replies, "No, this was 2 months ago."
Oh, yes.
Yeah, some good jokes.
She's a good character. Yes, we should all be more like her.
The message.
I think that is, yes.
I can tell you who some of my least favourite characters are. I mean, it's a tough kind of well, maybe not. Maybe they were all kind of all right. I didn't really dislike anyone, but I did dislike 2 of them. The kids.
The kids?
I fucking hated those kids. They were
the
shit.
Perfect kids.
Pieces of absolute shit.
Wait, which one?
The main women's.
2 of them had kids.
The main women's 2 kids.
Mila Kunis's 2 kids.
Mila Kunis's 2 kids.
They were like perfect, weren't they?
I mean, they were all right all the way through, but then do you remember at the end where she to be fair, she's kind of destroyed the house a little bit. But then they were like, "God, you ruin everything. You've kicked out Grandma just like you kicked out Dad." And I was like, Jesus, that's a bit harsh. And I looked it up, and in the first film, her husband cheats on her, and that's why they get divorced. I'm like, God, you kids, like, give her a fucking break. Like, holding your divorce against her when it was the dad's fault. I mean, for God's sake. And then I looked it up even more. In the first film, they abandon her to go and stay with their dad because she loses her job due to a series of misfortunes. And Wikipedia describes that as they go and stay with Mike in response to what they see as Amy's failure as a mother. Like, God, these kids, just abandon them. If you want to go live with your dad, go live with your dad. I'm not dealing with it. Ungrateful sods, that's what I say.
This is why we should not have children.
Agree. Take you for granted. It's like the film was telling us.
Yeah.
Oh, I really absorbed the message of the film. That's nice. Kids will never appreciate you.
I guess they were trying to think, like, what is Amy's worst fear here? What's the worst case scenario for Amy? And for her, it's like, not only was her mother totally right, but her children
are not loyal to her
actually had their lives ruined. Well, she's not worried about loyalty, is she? She's worried about them being happy. She doesn't want, like, them to feel like they've got no one in the world. The very thing she was trying to do was to stop them from feeling unsafe and abandoned, and that's exactly what she ended up doing.
Well,
wasn't written particularly well, but
they could have done that in a way that didn't make me hate the children. But then that's
it was
just
kind
me.
of like it was like it was like the script for the children was not a script, but just like a list of plot points they wanted to tick off. It would be like it was almost, the script says the children then feel betrayed by Amy. And so the children say, I feel betrayed, Mum, you've ruined things. And then they walk, exit children.
Followed by a bear.
There wasn't a lot of... yes. Excellent. Dylan and the other one pursued by a bear. They seem very two-dimensional, I guess is what I'm saying. In a film with not exactly three-dimensional characters, but lively and vibrant characters, they were a bit just, they're perfect children, they're very polite, and they calmly say what they think in all of the scenes, and then the film ends.
Also, fair enough for children, I kind of get it, but I would prefer to go and see the 5-hour Russian Nutcracker than go to a trampoline park.
You are kidding.
I've been to a trampoline park. I've never seen a 5-hour Russian Nutcracker, let me tell you that.
I've never been to a trampoline park. Do they have those in Scotland?
Yeah, there's one in Edinburgh. There's one opposite my house.
Oh my God. What?
You would know if you ever visited.
Which I would have done if I'd ever been invited.
Burn.
I think you guys need to go to church and have a serious conversation about your relationship. I would also like to state that I chose this film because I'd seen all the other ones, and choosing something because you've not done it before is not necessarily the right approach.
That's not such a bad idea.
Yeah.
You had seen Let It Snow?
Of the four.
Yeah, okay.
I hadn't seen either of yours.
Watch Miracle on 34th Street next time, I guess.
Yeah. Never watch new films ever again. That's what I've learned.
We'll be stuck watching Thor Ragnarok all the time.
Yeah.
Well, at least
Gremlins 2.
Oh, we should watch Gremlins 2.
What to expect
or Gremlins 1 really is a fantastic Christmas film. And I wish I'd remembered it. Not that I'm getting the sense it wouldn't have made it past.
Oh, I don't think I knew those were Christmas films.
I don't know if Gremlins... I can't remember Gremlins 2 that well, but I think it is. Gremlins 1 definitely is. It's all about Christmas.
Cool.
Did we like the main 3 characters in this?
No.
Wait, who are the main 3 characters?
Well, I suppose the 3 young mums, not their mums. The 3 mums that we follow. Mila Kunis.
I did and I didn't
Catherine
for all of them.
Yeah, same.
My favorite was the mother who worked at the spa.
Me too.
She
Catherine
was the best.
Yeah.
She was quite satisfying to watch.
She was an awful person.
She was so
oh my
awful.
God, I came around to her in the end, kind of, because she had a couple of endearing moments, but you can't. That's criminal behaviour. some of it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's just not on.
Yeah, some of it was probably... And I hated that they were kind of equating that with not taking any shit from anyone.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not endeared, but I'm not on your side here.
Yeah.
You're forcing underpaid mall workers to deal with your shit. You're just being you're being criminally disruptive. You're just being social
what did they
deviant.
do?
One of them sexually assaulted an elf.
Yeah, I mean, they sexually assaulted like 4 guys, didn't they? And it was they all raised a beer and said, "Yeah, let's do Christmas our way." And like, yeah, that sounds good. That's an appropriate sentiment. And so they went to a mall Santa and grinded on him.
Ugh.
And then they went to an elf, and what did they do with the elf?
Santa seemed to be enjoying it.
Did they also grind on him?
There was just a lot of...
It's true, or they seemed to be enjoying it afterwards at least. Yeah, and then they went and stole a load of whiskey.
Theft, fraud, sexual assault. This is a litany of crimes.
It was when they were hanging out outside the grocery store and just like walking up and taking people's shopping, and this was like, oh, that's cute, aren't they? Quirky. It's like, well, I mean, they're criminals.
I actually feel sorry for the guy at the end who's just had all of his stuff stolen.
Yeah. It's a terrible thing to get stuff stolen like
Horrible.
that. Like you'd be on your watch every time you go shopping, wouldn't you? Yeah. Oh, they're. Yeah. I think that was the justification. Oh, it's a fancy grocery store, so they can afford it. But like they just kind of got mugged, and it didn't feel great.
Didn't sit well, did it? No.
No. But that was like a lot of that stuff. The thing is, it at least sort of fit with her character. Who was she? Kiki.
No, that was the other one.
Oh yeah, no, Kiki was the blonde one. Carla,
that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it fit with Carla's character, but Amy and Kiki, it was clear that they like took their family lives seriously and they had a sense of responsibility, and then they just did all of that. I think because it was going to be a funny bit of the film, and they didn't want to write the bit that caused them to do it or whatever, so they just had them do that bit and then went back to being the same characters before. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And I spent a lot of the film being frustrated at their mothers as well. A lot of that, I think that's why I didn't enjoy. You know, like, nobody was behaving even in the realms of plausibly acceptable behaviour. Like, why aren't they all just screaming at each other? Like, you know, if my mother either just showed up and demanded money. I mean, I kind of get that we're not getting the full nuances of their relationship, perhaps, but the second, Kiki's mum, like...
Oh, it was just beyond belief, wasn't it?
I mean, I know that's the point of the film, which is to enter into the realms of the ridiculous, but it's just too much.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
What about Jesus? Was he not acting at least regularly? As in, was he not the most normal person in the film?
Who did you say?
Jesus, the butler?
Jesse.
Oh, Jesse, yeah, okay.
Who's Jesse?
Yeah, he was the straight man, wasn't he?
Which one was that?
Yeah.
Amy's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we were doing a bit like Christine Baranski was doing. Yes, he was fine. Yeah, I suppose.
And the grandmother.
Go on.
Grandmother's husband was also just fine. I
Lovely
think.
Sandy.
Yeah. I don't think that was his name in this film.
Was it not? Does that not rule that all actors they just have to keep the same character names? I mean, otherwise it wouldn't be believable that they were different characters.
And the stripper, he was a decent stripper, and he was doing his job.
I tell you what, I didn't like the fat shaming of the first stripper. That was just unacceptable.
Yeah, what a weak,
cruel,
pathetic joke to make. Yeah. And again, you could even have done something with that, like where he's a human, but it's like the joke was, and then he was fat.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha. What's that? Yeah.
Bad.
I felt like there were a lot of jokes that would have been shut out like immediately if they'd been the other gender.
Yeah.
I think the sexual assault in the mall would just have never passed.
I was thinking that. I was like, my God, you wouldn't write this for men these days.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose you might do. I mean, the films like this that star men are equally awful and horrible and sexist and deeply inappropriate, I think. But, yeah, still.
They did kind of make a similar joke about women's weight when the grandmother was telling, well, as in one of the main mothers was telling the grandmother, as in, well, I've been busy, and the grandmother replies, well, clearly not at the gym.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that was good because that was a joke about her prejudice. I liked that. And again, it was one of these subtle little things about how she's not having a go at like Hispanic waiting stuff. She's just ignorant. It's. I feel like if they'd done something like that with Santa number 1, they
could have just had someone dance a bit awkwardly and have him boo off. I don't, it's just, felt very mean-spirited.
Yeah, but I'm utterly convinced that there wasn't any more thought to it than this is a joke. We need an extra joke for this bit.
Oh yeah, there often isn't.
And they just
I suppose
didn't even think like, could this upset someone? Is this really funny? Does this really fit with the rest of the film? It was just, that's another joke, that'll do. We've got to make another one of these next year. Good example of everything that was wrong with this.
Oh, there was another tick in the writing that really got on my nerves. They kept saying the word actually.
Really?
So they kept being like, oh, I would actually love that. So like at the beginning, not that often, but I picked up on it like, when they were like, why don't you guys spend Christmas with us? And then she was like, oh, I would actually love that. Oh, you coming over, my intimate partner on Christmas? Do you know what? I would actually love that. So like, it's a bit of a dig, isn't it? Not like, oh, well, I don't know. Pfft. And then her mum says it later. I can't remember now because I didn't write it down. But Mila Kunis in particular kept saying, I would actually do this. Actually.
Yeah.
Stop saying actually.
I just barely picked up on it and noticed it. Yeah, Claire?
Oh, that's something that people do in speech and is really annoying. But I feel like if your words are being written for you, you should not say that.
Yeah.
They can catch that.
Exactly. Or you could write that for one character. That's like that's thinking about a character's voice, but it's clearly just that one writer has this one word that they're using out of habit and nobody's picked up on it. Yeah. It made me think of Educating Rita. There was this bit, I think, where she's like learned the word actually, and she says, "Oh, I'm going to this party with my tutor. Come on, he's actually not that bad." And he goes, "Oh, is he actually not that bad, Susan? Well, you can actually sod off." And it just popped into my head when they were saying actually, Susan.
Yes, exactly. It's like saying quite. It's just a way of like tempering your reaction, I think. I don't know. Like you're surprised that you would enjoy that. Oh yeah, I guess I would like it if you came over on Christmas. Fuck you, I'm not coming. Sorry. I'm a bit premenstrual at the moment. So.
That wouldn't be so bad.
Yes, exactly. That was the tone of it.
Yeah. It's such a crazy idea. It might just work.
Any symbolism?
Any symbolism.
The tree.
The Christmas tree.
What does the tree symbolise in Christmas?
Here,
Oh wait, play the flute.
My flute is lost.
Oh, no.
I don't know where it is.
What are we going to do? What if we've got anything around me that I could make a noise out of? No, I don't know.
I got some jingle bells in the next room.
Do you actually? Do you
Yeah.
actually?
I actually have. Just a second.
Oh, I can hear them coming. I'm
It's a
excited.
jingly symbolism.
Yeah. Oh. So appropriate.
I think we should get a symbolism
Christmas
symbol.
Great. Yeah, there's no symbolism. Yeah, so the Christmas tree is like the centerpiece of the whole Christmas occasion, right? It's like the tallest thing right in the
But
in the most
why?
visible
Why did we
part of the
start
room.
this?
Prince Albert.
I think so.
Prince Albert.
I think it's supposed to
Prince
represent
Albert.
bringing life into the house.
Oh, nice.
But it's dead.
It's green.
It's green.
But you've killed it.
If you put it in water, it'll sort of keep desperately clinging on for a few
And you
weeks.
can replant them. There's a company that I was reading about that rents Christmas trees to you, and then they come and pick it up again, and then they replant
Nice.
it, and then dig it up again the next
Oh,
year.
that's nice.
We used to get them in
nice.
a pot. We haven't this year, but it was like, what, 5 years
I
in a
know.
row we got a
And
potted
every
one?
year you promised you'd look after it, and every year it would get to August and it would be orange, and I'd make you throw it
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, I'd always put it out, but we didn't really have anywhere to plant it, and I couldn't be asked to plant. I don't know what the hell I'm doing with gardening, so I just sort of leave it out there until it goes brown and dead.
Outrageous. I feel like the Christmas tree might be a symbol in this film, though, if we want it to be, because she doesn't have a Christmas tree, and then they have the stolen Christmas tree, which is not good enough, and then she replaces it with her fancy, perfect Christmas tree that's
From Paris.
and then she like weaponizes that and breaks up all the Christmas decorations with it. And then they unite and they compromise and they work together to have a Christmas
Cut down a tree.
that's got part of both of them. It's not perfect, but it is lovely.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
shouldn't cut down
No,
trees.
I tried.
Also, my God, they must have been an absolute racket when they tidied up in that party. They must have woken those kids up because there's no way they were being quiet. And I don't believe they would have had time to make paper chains. That would have. You need an industrial cleaning staff to rectify that mess.
They were big paper chains.
Certainly. But anyway, yes, I think you're right about the tree, Claire.
I think it was very symbolic.
Yeah. No, I think that's what they were going for, isn't it? They had the stolen tree, which is too far one way, and the tree from, where did they say it was from? Paris, which is too far the other way, and they ended up with something just right, which was the nicest tree of all. Our tree looks lovely.
It does.
I've really been enjoying our tree this year.
Yeah.
I've been getting compliments on it in Teams meetings.
Oh,
that's
nice.
good.
Do you think the tree also symbolised commodity fetishism?
No.
Okay. No, I think it does.
I don't know what that is. I was just saying no.
Could you develop that idea a little more?
No.
In that case, yes, I do think that. I think it was a real symbol of neoliberalism.
Well, exactly. That's what I mean. It's the...
Is that what you mean?
I don't know. It's it is what it says on the tin, the fetishization of commodities. The relationship between money and things is defining all relationships that we have in this life, because everybody is a commodity and everything is a commodity, and it's all in this system of perpetual exchange that cannot possibly keep growing and growing. Capitalism in a nutshell.
Yeah, so it's saying a lot about the commercialization of Christmas, wasn't it?
I don't think it was, though. I mean, it tried a bit, wasn't it? Because they had Amy be like, this is everything that's wrong with Christmas. But then they still went ahead with like big, you're chopping down a tree so that you can... Oh, well, I suppose maybe that's not it, but I don't know. It seemed to be a lot about big, flashy... Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm going to stop talking now.
I thought this was better than Krampus, which I tried to watch the other night, and it was really bad. And I stopped watching it.
My sister just watched that, and she described it on Letterboxd as a load of crapus.
Which was quite good.
Oh, yeah. What a zinger.
Yeah.
It was really bad, though.
She should write Bad Moms 6.
Let's
I
face
watched
it.
Deck the Halls the other day. That was really bad as well.
You watched what?
Deck the Halls? We heard of it?
Okay.
It's got
No,
Danny
I don't think
DeVito
so.
and Matthew Broderick in it.
Oh, well.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Fair enough. We'll give that one a miss. What's your favourite Christmas film?
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way. How about
No,
you,
it
Claire?
probably isn't. I don't know.
I really like Elf.
I like Elf a lot as well.
Yeah, okay.
I also like The Grinch and The Sound of Music, if that counts as a... I don't know if it's a Christmas film.
I watch Mary Poppins every Christmas as well.
Could be.
That's nice.
What's your favourite Christmas film, Michael and Fernando?
I really love The Snowman. That's a short film, of course.
Oh, yeah, nice.
And I like Muppets Christmas Carol.
Nice.
I don't think that I ever think much of Christmas films, but if I have to answer the question, I suppose that one of the Home Alone movies.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, I love The Home Alone.
Home Alone, that's a good one.
I like watching Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone when I'm wrapping Christmas presents.
Me too. Yeah, definitely.
What?
Got that excellent Christmas scene.
What?
When
Fine.
it gets all snowy and stuff. And all Christmassy. I like it.
Because this is a special episode, are we not making the link between this one and the previous film?
Between this one and Halloween,
Yeah,
right?
I guess it would be
Oh,
equivalent to
yeah.
Halloween, yes.
Because this is going to come out way out of order with like the last one we recorded is going to come out in February or something. I'll probably put this one out in like 2 days.
Maybe we could compare it to last year's Christmas film.
Did we have one?
That would make sense. We did not.
I picked a Christmas film so that it would come out at Christmas.
Babes in Toyland.
Yes.
Yeah, what was the link between this one and Babes in Toyland?
They were both worthless pieces of trash that should have never made it to the screen.
Perfect.
That's nice. At least this one actually had Christmas in it.
Yeah. The other one was, I feel
Yeah.
like it was the
Do you
Oh, so
remember
there was-
Babes in
pantomime.
Toilet wasn't even set at Christmas?
No.
No, there was like someone making toys.
Yep.
That was about as close as it got, right?
Yep.
And there were tin soldiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just
It was a
misled.
bit like a pantomime.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't great. In fact, I googled Christmas films when I was trying to think of what I should suggest this time, and one of the things that came up was like the 1980s remake of Babes in Toyland. And I thought, no, not again.
Oh, yeah, we could have
Not
watched the
falling
remake.
for that one again.
We've not done much.
I would be curious to see how the remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, I think, as Claire once said, I'd be curious in that same way that when there's an accident on the side of the road, you sort of want to slow down a
Yeah.
bit and get a good look. But I hope that, like that, I can have the self-control to not do so, because it's not going to be good for anyone.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
I think I
I
remember.
can't remember what it was I
Yeah.
was suggesting we should watch, and you said, yeah, I'm kind of curious to see it. It was like the second Hobbit movie or something.
All right, okay.
You said, yeah, I'm
Oh.
a bit curious as well, in the same way you slow down to look
I
at a
feel
traffic
like
accident.
You've said that about one of our films before.
Probably.
Right, here's the comparison. They're reflections of each other, Babes in Toyland and A Bad Mom's Christmas. One of them is about, like, powerful men playing games
Oh,
where
very
women
good.
are completely helpless and at their mercy and pretty vapid and empty. And this one is the opposite. This is all women playing games with the men, and the male characters are basically just romantic sex objects.
Nice. Well done.
Thanks.
Good work.
Yeah.
We'll invite you back.
Yeah. See you next Christmas.
Yeah, that'll do it for me. Yeah.
Did we stop doing Who Would You Be?
Oh, I suppose it's a pretty ensemble cast.
Ensemble cast.
We could do.
I think I'd be Santa number 1.
And why not? He seems like a decent guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what? He went for it. He joined in.
Yep.
People were mean to him.
Took it with grace when everyone showed nothing but revulsion at his body. And the fact that he would dare try and be sexy.
There we are. Right, so if they were going to rewrite that to be less of a shit joke but still be in keeping with this film, it should have been that he had a tubby belly, but they all swooned over him because it turned out he had a bigger cock than any of the rest of them. That would have been the joke that would have sold it. That would have done it.
Do you know what? I think it would just have been, they'd have laughed when he was fat, and then he'd have just carried on with confidence, and they'd eventually have been one round.
Yeah, he'd have walked home with 3 of them when one of the others had fallen off the table drunk. Yeah. So many ways they could have...
It could have been a good joke.
Yeah.
All they had to do was think for 10 seconds.
Yeah, can we... Anyway.
I don't think we're like any of these characters, because none of these characters were in any way believable.
I'm like Carla's son. I would like to be Carla's son.
Jackson! I love Jackson.
What?
He was a treat.
What?
I liked his simple, pure view of the world.
Yeah, what was that about? Was he?
He's a bit thick.
He was a bit thick. That was it.
I think it was borderline.
Did he have an English accent?
He had a strange accent.
He talked funny. Yeah, okay. Great joke.
Right, so who are we all then?
So Fernando's Jackson, apparently, even though I don't know if that's true.
I'm Santa number 1.
You're Santa number 1.
I feel like Fernando might be the one from Mamma Mia, Amy's mum.
I was going to say that, Christine Baranski.
Yeah.
Ruth.
Okay.
Ruth.
I was going to suggest that for Laura.
Oh, I'd be pleased with that. I think I'm Sandy from the OC.
Was he called Hank? Can't remember.
Sandy. Yeah, who would Claire be? I think he might be Susan Sarandon.
Oh, yes. That's the dream.
Wait, who's Suzanne?
Carla's mum.
The bad mum.
Isis.
The bad mum.
Isis.
Yeah. They were all bad mums, but yeah.
We've
She was
agreed that
definitely
she's
the
the
best.
She is the best. Yeah, she was great.
I'd like to be cool like her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had a gambling problem. And hadn't seen my family in 3 years.
Yeah.
Maybe Fernando is Jesus.
Jesse.
Maybe, yes.
Except Fernando has a personality.
And that's the main
changes it.
drawback of Jesse. I think he's no personality. He seems kindly.
Yeah.
With a hidden wisdom.
And he's very patient with his insane mother-in-law.
Or maybe you're the therapist.
Oh. Now there's a character.
That was a good guy. I'd like more of her.
Yeah. Yeah, they should just have made the film about her.
Gotta say, I didn't quite get it.
No, it was definitely the film being like, we're going to tell you something now.
Yeah. And is she saying that, every mother must be as fucked up as Sandy?
That's what she was implying, yes.
Yeah, which is patently not true. like many mothers do have like a working relationship with their kids that isn't overly protective or overly distant.
Yeah. I think she was just implying what we owe to our mothers, which I inherently disagree with as a thing, because it's just patriarchy, sexism.
I think it's matriarchy, really, isn't it?
No, it's the opposite. Because it's being like, oh, this is women's role in life.
Oh, I see.
To look after you this way.
And to be broken by perpetuating the species.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of what she was saying, wasn't it?
I think she was
saying you've got to cut your mother some slack. You've given her an awful time, and she deserves more respect.
No, she was saying all mothers have to raise their children. They all have to look at, she's defining all women as this kind of nuclear mother, with no mention of parenthood, non-normative family structures, etc., etc. That's the patriarchy, my friend.
I'm not sure I got that from her. That said, she was contradicting herself like crazy in that conversation. It seemed to me like she was saying, look at how fucked up the world is. Your mother's acting like this because of everything that she's been put through.
I don't think she was questioning the system, though. She was just saying, this is what mothers are and have to do, and you should be more grateful for it. Yeah. Rather than, we live in a patriarchal system where your mothers had to take, the main role of raising you and looking after you and being the caregiver of the family.
Yeah, you should.
But she's saying every mother would be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's not exactly saying, isn't she a lovely lady who did shouldn't we all aspire to this? I don't know what the fuck she was talking about. She'd spent the whole conversation like subtly digging at Sandy and being like, no, that's not normal shit. And then as soon as she's gone, she's like, well, you should... Yeah, the opposite of a therapist.
Complicated film.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Go on. So, but that was more interesting, what you were saying, than anything that was in the film. So what can we take from this? It is being a mother in the modern world, like, impossible or unsustainable? Would you have to be mad to do it? Is it a good institution? Is it something that needs to be challenged?
I don't think you can make universals about motherhood. That's the problem, I suppose. Which is, I suppose, is what this film was trying to do. But it was like a very of being like, oh, aren't we so like when Amy gives her big rant at the beginning, where she's like, we're solely responsible for Christmas because we love our families and this is our job, etc., etc. Like, no.
Do you follow Man Who Has It All on Twitter?
No, I don't think so.
You'd love it. The current retweet is a list of things that, I forget the two names, it says Claire and Michael. The list of jobs they have for Christmas. And Claire's is like, get the tree down from the loft and carve the turkey. And it's like, good on Claire. She's really helping Michael out with the Christmas preparations. It's just flips everything. It's like, I feel like I understand having men in the boardroom because I have a daughter.
That sounds good. I'm away to follow that right now.
It's really good.
People enjoy that. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it was doing anything deep. I certainly don't think it was critiquing the institution of motherhood as a structuration of patriarchal, sexist and racist desires. God, I'm really on one today, sorry.
Racist?
I just threw that in for a bit of spice.
Okay.
Like the alcoholism.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's all one, isn't it? It's all built in and intersecting. I mean, they are all like privileged white women and that's why they have this paragon of virtue thrust upon them.
Everything's connected, man.
It's like it really is.
It's always right now. So did they utterly fail then in this film to say anything about motherhood?
Well, yeah, they said loads of different contradictory things. Every scene was just.
But they could have made that work somehow, because they even had like the centre of it was these three, I think, quite different women, all dealing with well, I guess two of them dealing with being, all of them dealing with being mothers, but all of them approaching it in quite different ways and having different kinds of kids. That they could have tackled that, couldn't they? They could have really made something of that. All mothers are different, and they all have different things they have to deal with, and different people have different responses to that and different pressures. But here's something that unites all of them, or here's something that doesn't. And they just utterly failed to say anything of value.
All they said was mothers have it hard and they need a little bit of a break sometimes.
Yeah. I also objected that as a rule of thumb. Just because something's hard and someone's struggling with it doesn't give them carte blanche to mistreat others. It's not, your mum's got it hard, so she gets to be overbearingly oppressive. She still has to care about how her behaviour affects you. Doesn't matter how hard her time is. The idea that, people have it hard, so we should let them away with shit is not a good lesson either.
Yeah.
But pretty much everything anyone said in the film was questionable.
Yeah.
Mixed messages coming from the film, right?
It's amazing how you can get it wrong in so many ways. It's quite impressive.
Was this a film? Yeah. Was this made by committee? Was there a coherent vision for this film at some point?
Do you know what it read like to me? It read like men just trying to be like, this is how women feel about things.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's generalising and a bit universal, but it felt like what men felt like, when they were like being really horny and study them all. No, sorry, that's I take that back. But when they were just being really inappropriate, it was like, that's what men think women want to do, isn't it? Like,
okay.
So now I'm being stereotyping and sexist, but I'm also like, this is just classic. I don't know who it was written by. Maybe it was written by a woman, but it felt
directors and writers John Lucas and Scott Moore.
There we go. Yep, that checks out.
Your prejudice was correct. That makes
50% of the time it works every time.
That makes it okay.
Yeah.
I don't know who wrote it and who they wrote it for, or whom. It was just incoherent nonsense, really. Maybe written by committee, or maybe just chat out. It's hard to know, really, isn't it? Just like, I
can't really believe it was the work of two men. I think that it was two men wrote something, and then like 15 people who wanted to make a bit more money or tweak it more to a formula or set it up better for the streaming market or whatever, got in there and said, let's add this bit in, and let's add that bit in, and do you know what, that scene doesn't really work, let's take that out, and
I don't
put
know,
more sex in there.
I think this sounds like the work of two men. So Scott Moore, I'm going to check out what these people have done. Oh, he wrote The Hangover, one of them.
Do you know, it felt very Hangover.
Sounds about
I think
right.
when I saw the camel, I thought this is going to be Hangover-like.
Yep, the other one also contributed to The Hangover.
Both wrote The Hangover.
Yeah.
It
Does
all
that
makes
kind of sound
sense.
right?
Yeah, it all makes sense, I guess. Yes. They were both terrible films.
Well, have you found something on Wikipedia, Claire?
Yeah, I've put it in the chat. I keep cutting it.
Batman's Christmas was released on Wednesday, November 1st, 2017. Scheduled November 3. It was brought forward 2 days to avoid direct competition with Thor Ragnarok.
Wow.
It's not... no, wait. There's no competition between Thor Ragnarok and...
That was ambitious, wasn't it? That, like, they misjudged that.
I think avoiding trying to compete with that is probably a good idea. That was not a fight they were going to win. How big is the audience overlap, do you reckon?
I don't know. I don't think.
Is it a film both meant for children, as in like small children? I don't know.
This one
I
definitely
really
not.
hope this wasn't meant for small children.
Not with that amount of swearing and
Dicks.
ball waxing.
Then who is the target audience? Who would enjoy this film?
Absolutely no one.
I guess established fans of the Bad Moms cinematic universe.
There was just one previous film, and that was it.
Yeah, that's the universe. They're starting phase 2 next year.
Now the previous one had to be at least a little bit good to be able to get
it was
those
the same.
grandmothers.
Well, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it was a hell of a cast.
There's no way Susan Sarandon signed up for some absolute shit show knowing what she's getting into.
Well, I'm on IMDb, and apparently Catherine Hahn wrote a letter to Susan Sarandon begging her to be in it.
What?
I don't know if that's true.
Catherine who?
Carla.
Yeah.
Oh. So were they kind of creatively involved in this then? This is starting to fall into place. Like the cast is so famous and successful that they were influencing the writing or the casting, or
I don't know.
Do cast members choose other cast members normally?
I think they're probably involved.
I mean, they
sometimes.
could probably exert some influence. Maybe.
Did Elijah Wood write to Orlando Bloom begging him to be in the Lord of the Rings movies?
I know that Carey Mulligan begged Keira Knightley to be in Never Let Me Go.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what does happen, I guess. I've also got the worst piece of trivia I've ever read on IMDb. It's just absolutely
let's
nothing.
Hear it.
It's not good. It's honestly, don't get your hopes up. Christine Baranski's character is from Chicago. 16 years earlier, she played Mary Sunshine in the film Chicago. That's not trivia.
Everything's connected.
Can I
take the first letter of Chicago and the fourth letter of Chicago, and they put them together, and it spells out
Chicago.
So my sound cut out there, but I heard Michael laughing from the other room, so I knew there was a joke.
I guess you'll hear it on the podcast.
I can't wait.
Who's Kenny G? Have you
no
heard of
idea.
him?
He's a music person.
Someone who plays a flute.
It's not a flute, bitch.
In fairness, it's not. Was that a soprano sax? It's not very often you get to see a soprano sax.
Yeah, I'll give him that. I wonder if he had some some self-respect before he did this. I think I'm just about done.
Yeah, I've made it through all my notes.
I'm very much looking forward to discussing A Bad Moms Christmas 2 next year with you.
Brilliant. I'm hoping for a Bad Moms Easter to come out before then.
That's good. They're going to make one for all the Christian celebrations.
Bad Moms Pentecost. Yeah, I'd watch that. Yeah, I could thank you for picking a new film that we hadn't seen before. That could have been good, and I've enjoyed discussing it with you all. I'm not sure we quite drilled down to the gritty heart of the message it had, but
I think that's an impossible task.
I don't think they knew, did they? So
excellent. Here we go.